The surface of Vorton 6 was silent except for the grinding roar of mining drills and the hiss of sulfur winds. Sector D9 readings are off the charts, a gravel-voiced alien foreman muttered. His translucent skin glowed faintly in the dim light of the rig's sensors. Thermal spikes, metallic signatures, this isn't normal or… Technician Vrex tilted his cranial array. Could be old Dominion wreckage. Or remnants from the Purge era. The foreman scowled. Then it's worth triple. Keep drilling. Beneath them, kilometers deep, a buried city stirred. A vibration rippled through the rock, gentle at first, then rhythmic, like a heartbeat waking from centuries of sleep. Inside a sealed chamber of alloy and bone, Commander Elias Corrin gasped awake. His lungs burned. His cryopod hissed steam into the dark. Alarms blinked red. The stasis field dissolved with a low hum, leaving him drenched in cold sweat and confusion. Status report. His voice rasped, echoing in the empty vault. A voice answered from nowhere, a glitching AI tone. Command Unit Elias Corrin. Stasis time elapsed, 223 years. World condition occupied. Human life signs 0. He froze. Occupied by who? Non-human entities detected. Extraction level approaching containment threshold. Energy breach imminent. Corrin stumbled to the nearest viewport, brushing away centuries of dust. Through cracked glass, he saw mechanical lights flicker, alien machines burrowing down. He saw their markings, Dominion. The word ignited something inside him. The last thing he remembered was fire over Earth, the final command buried in his neural core. If they bury us, make the ground remember. He exhaled slowly. So it's time. The AI responded softly. Reactivation protocol? Run it. The chamber groaned as the ancient vault awakened. Power flowed through rusted conduits. Lights flared alive, bathing the room in a pale blue glow. Across the chamber, dozens of cryopods flickered. Frost cracked. Human silhouettes stirred. Above ground, the mining station quaked. Report! The foreman barked as instruments went wild. Seismic magnitude rising, 12.3 and climbing. Vrex stared at the monitors. Sir, the energy's artificial. It's pulsing in intervals, like a signal. The foreman's gills flared. A signal? From what? A new reading blinked onto the screen, translated text from deep beneath the surface. Project Earth's Echo, status, reactivation. The aliens froze. Earth? One whispered. That can't be. The ground split open. A column of blue-white energy erupted skyward, shredding the rig like paper. Metal screamed. Bodies were flung aside. From below, shapes emerged, figures in blackened armor, carrying weapons that hummed like storms. Elias stepped into the fractured light, visor glinting. His boots crunched through ash and alien wreckage. The foreman crawled backward, trembling. What are you? Elias raised his eyes, voice low but steady. Human. Then the earth shook again, harder this time. And somewhere deep below, thousands of pods began to open. The vault's air reeked of ozone and dusted frost as more pods hissed open. Blue lights shimmered against metal walls carved with the seal of the United Terran Defense Force. Commander Elias Corrin moved between the awakening cryochambers, checking vitals and systems with the precision of a man who'd done it 1,000 times, centuries ago. Status on the core grid? He asked, his voice steady but low. The AI, its voice roughened by decay, answered from the walls. Primary grid at 62% capacity. Reactor stable. Atmospheric containment, compromised at upper levels. Elias nodded. Good enough. He turned toward a figure stumbling out of a nearby pod. Lieutenant Mara Vance, her eyes bloodshot, skin pale, hair damp from cryosweat. She blinked at him, disoriented. Commander, where the hell are we? Vorton 6, Elias replied. They called it that after the fall. Used to be Haven Outpost, one of ours. Mara's gaze sharpened. Used to be? Elias pointed upward. Aliens. Dominion miners. They've been digging through our graves for centuries. She froze, processing the words. So, they found us. They woke us, Elias corrected grimly. And now we remind them why they should have left us buried. He walked to a central console and keyed in commands. Rusted monitors flickered to life, showing surface feeds from ancient recon drones, patched and grainy, but still functional. Through the haze, they saw movement, towering alien machines retreating from the crater their drilling had caused. Sparks rained down. The mining site was chaos. Mara leaned over the feed. They look scared. They should be. Elias' tone was quiet but heavy. One by one, more humans awoke, roughly 40 soldiers from Echo Battalion. Their faces carried the same hollow confusion followed by grim understanding. Centuries asleep, yet the purpose burned in their eyes the moment they realized who the invaders were. Commander, Sergeant Holt rasped, pulling a rifle from a weapon rack. Please tell me those drills up there belong to someone we can shoot. Elias cracked a faint, humorless smile. They do. But first, we gather strength. Systems, munitions, comms. The AI interrupted. Warning. Dominion drones entering subsurface. Estimated contact in 6 minutes. The smile vanished. Change of plans. The Dominion drones descended through the bore shaft, scanning the dark with piercing yellow beams. Each drone's carapace gleamed with alloy plating and bore the sigil of the Archregent's crest. Scout Division, report visual, came Terevkesh's command voice over the comm line. His tone was laced with irritation. This tremor better not be another methane pocket incident. Negative, Regent, replied the scout captain. Readings show anomalous machinery. Pre-Dominion design. Possibly pre-Galactic even. Then secure samples. And stop panicking. Whatever's down there, it's dead. A moment later, the first drone's camera caught something moving, metal glint, a human silhouette. Then the feed cut out. In the depths, the corridor lights flared red as Echo Battalion assembled. The soldiers were still weak from cryo, but training resurfaced like instinct. They equipped themselves in ancient kinetic suits that hummed softly as dormant nanofibers reactivated. The black plating shimmered with subtle, ghostly blue light, the mark of pre-fall Terran tech. Lieutenant Mara tightened the straps of her armor. Power cells at 50%. We're running on borrowed time. Elias nodded. Borrowed time's all humans ever needed. A metal door ground open, leading to the main elevator shaft, now cracked and filled with dust. He took point, rifle raised, and motioned his team forward. Moments later they heard the drones. The air filled with the faint hum of repulsors, then the staccato clicks of scanners sweeping the dark. The first yellow beam pierced the corridor, illuminating motes of ancient dust. Elias whispered, "Lights off." His soldiers faded into the shadows, silent as predators. The drones entered, 5 of them, gliding cautiously. Their sensors mapped the room in tight grids. Then a single flash of steel, Elias struck. His blade, forged from tungsten carbon weave, split the lead drone in half. The others fired bursts of plasma, scorching the walls. Engage! Gunfire erupted in the confined space, thunder echoing through the vault. Each human shot landed with surgical precision. Hundreds of years of sleep hadn't dulled their aim. Within seconds, all drones were down, smoking wrecks littering the metal floor. Status? Elias demanded. Holt kicked a broken drone aside. Clean. No casualties. One alert sent, though. Surface knows we're awake. Then they'll send more, Mara said. Elias turned to her. Let them. Every signal they send tells us where they are. He looked toward the old elevator shaft stretching upward into the black. Time to move. We reclaim Haven Outpost. On the surface, panic spread like contagion. Dominion foremen barked orders, calling in reinforcements as seismic waves rippled across the mining plains. Archregent Terevkesh appeared on a hollow feed, his scaled features twisting in anger. Contain this now! Whatever anomaly you've awakened, I want it vaporized. The foreman stammered. Our regent, with respect, our weapons are useless. The readings, it's like the planet itself is. Enough excuses! Tarevkesh snapped. Deploy purge bombers. Level the site. Below, alarms flared in the human vault. Mara glanced at the monitor. Commander, they're calling in atmospheric bombardment. Elias smirked faintly, almost nostalgic. Of course they are. He stepped toward the main control dais, a circular platform surrounded by dormant reactors. Then it's time for the Echo Protocol. The AI hesitated. Protocol activation will expose your position to all Dominion networks. Good, Elias said. Let the galaxy hear us. He pressed his hand to the scanner. Power surged through the chamber. The ground trembled again, this time in steady pulses. Across the underground complex, dormant war machines began to stir, drones, automated turrets, defense fields humming to life. Outside, Dominion ships approaching the surface suddenly veered off course as magnetic storms erupted from the ground. What is this? One pilot screamed. The crust is alive! It's... The comm cut out in static. Elias watched from a rising lift as his team ascended toward the surface through collapsing rock. Mara gripped her rifle. What happens when we reach them? Elias stared upward, eyes burning with a purpose centuries old. We remind them that humanity doesn't die quietly. Above, the night sky flashed with the first signs of the storm. Blue lightning crawled across the clouds, following the pulse of the reawakening vault below. And somewhere, deep in the galactic archives, Dominion sensors began to pick up a signal that hadn't been heard in over 200 years. Human transmission detected. The ground shook harder. The dead were no longer sleeping. The wind above Vorton 6 howled through the broken metal planes, carrying ash and static from the magnetic storm that now wrapped the planet like a shroud. Alien mining rigs flickered in and out of power, their instruments scrambled. System instability continues, Regent. A technician hissed through the static. We're detecting energy spikes in the megaton range, localized, rhythmic. Archregent Tarevkesh's eyes narrowed. Then flatten the source. I want orbital bombardment, now. Before the command could transmit, every orbital platform's targeting matrix flickered and failed. The Dominion's own satellites turned against them, flooded with corrupted code. On the main screen, a symbol emerged, familiar, ancient, forbidden. A circle of stars, surrounding a single, unblinking eye. The emblem of the Terran Defense Force. Tarevkesh felt something he hadn't in over a century. Fear. Beneath the fractured crust, Commander Elias Corrin watched the transmission cascade through captured alien frequencies. The symbol glowed above him, projected by the bunker's main display. Signal strength? He asked. Lieutenant Mara Vance leaned over her console. Strong enough to reach their capital worlds. We just became a ghost story that talks back. Elias allowed himself a thin smile. Good. Let's give them something to scream about. The elevator's final hatch opened with a thunderous hiss. Daylight, or what passed for it, poured in through the storm. The human strike team stepped onto the surface for the first time in 2 centuries. What they saw froze them in awe. The sky was a sickly green, choked by centuries of industrial mining. The ground was pitted with craters, cables, and alien machines. But beyond the devastation, beyond the Dominion markings and banners, Elias saw the unmistakable curvature of old Terran fortifications buried under alien scaffolds. They built on top of us, Holt muttered. Elias's jaw tightened. No. They built their empire from us. Dominion troops, sleek, 4-armed soldiers in mirrored armor, formed a perimeter around the crater. Their weapons buzzed with plasma light. The commander, a tall being with ink-black eyes, stepped forward cautiously. Identify yourselves. It barked through a translator field. You are trespassing on Dominion property. Mara smirked. Trespassing? That's cute. Elias stepped forward, rifle low but ready. His armor glowed faintly with pulsing blue veins, living circuitry responding to his heartbeat. This was human soil, he said, voice calm, deliberate. You dug too deep. The alien commander tilted its head. Impossible. Humans are extinct. Then what am I? Elias asked. Before the alien could reply, Holt fired. The plasma bolt from his rifle screamed through the storm, vaporizing the commander's head. The alien line broke instantly, chaos, shouts, and light as soldiers scrambled behind cover. Elias barked, "Advance!" Echo Battalion moved like a shadow through the smoke. Every step was measured, every shot precise. They didn't spray fire like frightened soldiers. They placed death exactly where it needed to be. Mara dropped to one knee beside a broken loader droid, using it as cover. "Two on the ridge!" "I see them," Elias said. He squeezed the trigger once. Both aliens fell. The battlefield became a demonstration of surgical brutality. Dominion plasma bursts tore through the air, but human kinetic rounds cut them down faster, cleaner. Within minutes, the ground was silent again. Only the wind and the faint crackle of burning rigs remained. In the aftermath, Holt kicked a Dominion rifle aside. "They still think we're myths," he said, voice low. "Let them think that," Elias replied. "A myth is harder to kill than a man." Mara crouched beside a fallen alien officer, examining its hollow pad. "Commander, look at this." She turned the device on, and a projection flickered into being, a message already en route to orbit. It contained images of the battle, human armor, human faces. The translation read, "To High Command. Subject: unknown entities resembling extinct Terran species. Classification: catastrophic threat level." Elias looked at the message for a long moment. "Send it," he said quietly. Mara blinked. "You want them to know?" "I want them to remember." He pressed the pad, letting the transmission complete. Somewhere in the black void above, Dominion warships would receive the signal. And the galaxy would whisper a single, impossible word: humans. Back on the flagship Dominion's Wrath, Archregent Terevkesh stood before the holodeble, claws tapping against the glass. The footage played in silence, men and women in black armor moving through smoke, their eyes bright, their weapons cutting through Dominion forces as if the laws of physics had bent in their favor. An aide hesitated beside him. "Regent, it's them, isn't it?" Terevkesh's voice was barely a whisper. "It cannot be. They were purged. Their worlds burned. Their systems sterilized. Then what are they?" He looked at the paused image of Elias, helmet visor reflecting alien fire. "The consequence of our arrogance," the regent murmured. Meanwhile, in the ruins below, Mara finished scavenging weapons and armor from fallen aliens. Human hands moved with mechanical familiarity, cleaning, adapting, improving. Holt slung a Dominion plasma rifle across his back. "Not bad tech for grave robbers." Elias glanced at him. "Then let's rob our graves back." He looked out over the horizon. Beyond the crater, storm clouds rolled toward the mountains. The tremors hadn't stopped. They were growing stronger, deeper. "AI," Elias said, opening a comm link. "Status on sublevel vaults?" "2 more vaults awakening, Commander," came the AI's voice. "Estimated population, 4,000 soldiers. Additional civilian stasis pods intact." Mara's eyes widened. 4,000? Holt laughed softly, disbelief laced with excitement. "Sir, we're not just ghosts anymore. We're an army." Elias's expression didn't change. "An army without a home." He looked up at the storm. "But we'll build one again." He turned to his team. "Prep for extraction. Dominion fleets will come fast and heavy. We move east, toward the old launch silos." Mara hesitated. "Sir, if we go loud." "We're already loud," Elias interrupted. "Now we make it thunder." Hours later, as night fell across Fortin 6, alien drones hovered over the smoking crater, scanning the ruins of their fallen outpost. From the dark hills beyond, human eyes watched them, patient, unblinking. Mara whispered, "Think they'll come closer?" Elias loaded a fresh magazine. "They always do." The first drone drifted within range. Elias gave the command. "Fire!" Blue tracers streaked across the night. Drones exploded like stars, falling in fiery arcs. The humans moved deeper into the storm, leaving behind the burning crater, their message already spreading across the stars. The ground shook again, harder, echoing across continents. It was no longer seismic. It was rhythmic, synchronized. Vaults awakening. The dead answering the call. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy began to tremble, not from war, but from remembrance. The galaxy had fallen eerily quiet. No ships crossed trade lanes. No diplomatic messages flickered across comm relays. The entire Galactic Council, once a roaring parliament of hundreds of species, was now a hollow echo chamber of fear. Humanity hadn't moved. Not militarily, not politically. But that was the problem. The silence itself was more terrifying than any declaration of war. The humans had left the council chambers 3 rotations ago. Since then, the galaxy had been waiting, every species holding its breath, waiting for the sound of engines, the hum of orbital bombardments, or worse, the silence continuing. Council Station Ariath Prime, Command Corps. High Chancellor Ruvak had not slept. His 6 eyes were sunken, his dorsal spines drooping. "Reports?" he rasped. A junior aide flinched as the old reptilian leader's voice cut through the still air. "And no change, sir. Human communications remain black. No response to any transmissions. All embassy channels remain locked. Satellites? They're still there. Just drifting. Silent." Ruvak exhaled slowly. "They're not drifting. They're watching." He knew the humans were patient predators. He had seen the footage of their soldiers in the Rim Wars, motionless for days, waiting for the perfect shot. Their fleets had that same patience now. And then, something worse arrived: data. The aide handed Ruvak a trembling data pad. Source unknown. Content: intercepted human transmission. Decryption level: partial. Operation Silent Dawn remains in effect. Phase 2 authorization pending. Targets under observation. Do not engage until command confirmation. Ruvak froze. Operation Silent Dawn, the aide whispered. "Do you think it's—" "Yes," Ruvak hissed. "A retaliation protocol." And yet, there was no fleet movement. No invasion patterns. No overt aggression. Humanity had gone dark. And that meant something unimaginable was coming. Meanwhile, Earth orbit, Luna Command Base. Admiral Tessa Oren stood over a holographic map of the galactic rim. Her hands rested on the glowing edge of the table, her jaw set like iron. "The Council is panicking," she said. "We've intercepted over 900 emergency broadcasts. They're mobilizing fleets, deploying peacekeepers, and sending spies into our outer colonies." A younger officer snorted. "Peacekeepers? Now they want peace?" Tessa's lips tightened. "They're afraid of what comes next. And they should be." She turned toward the massive viewport. Earth hung below, half in sunlight, half in shadow. "They tried to lock us down. They thought control meant safety. But humans don't stay caged." "Ma'am," another officer spoke. "Permission to ask, what exactly is Operation Silent Dawn?" Tessa's eyes didn't leave the stars. "It's not an attack order. It's a mirror." The room went quiet. "A mirror, Admiral?" "Yes," she said. "Every sensor, every drone, every ship we've ever built is watching them. Every power grab, every betrayal, every plot. We're not striking yet, we're learning." Her gaze hardened. "When we finally move, we won't need war. We'll make them collapse from within." On the fringe, the Varnese border worlds. General R.Y.K. a scarred war veteran of the Varnese species, stared at the human satellite his scouts had recovered. It was sleek, black, seamless, like a sliver of midnight forged into metal. "No weapons, no thrusters," his lieutenant said. "Just sensors." R.Y.K.'s mandibles clicked. "Sensors don't hum with reactor cores that big." He reached out, touching the satellite's cold surface. For a moment, the alien felt something pulse, an energy reading that shouldn't have been there. And then, his wrist implant spiked with static. The satellite spoke. Observer 11 to 9 active. Unauthorized contact detected. Logged. The words were in his language. Our Waikatar stumbled back, heart pounding. How does it? The satellite's surface shimmered, revealing a glowing insignia beneath its shell, an Earth sigil. Observation logged. Retaliation unnecessary. Your species remains under review. The satellite powered down, and a small light blinked red. The Varnese general stared, frozen. They knew I was here. Back on Ariath Prime, Galactic Council emergency session. Species from across the galaxy shouted over one another. The hollow chamber flickered with chaos. They're preparing for total war. No, they're already in our systems. Ruvak, your council promised containment. You think I can contain humans? Ruvak snarled, slamming his clawed fist into the table. They operate beyond rules, beyond threats, beyond fear. Then what do we do? A trembling delegate asked. Ruvak's voice dropped to a cold whisper. We pray they don't decide we're next. In the shadows of Earth, deep vault Sigma. A door hissed open deep beneath the mountains of old Siberia. Inside the chamber, a dozen figures sat around a black steel table. No insignia. No ranks. Just the quiet hum of classified machines. Council forces have begun stockpiling along the rim, said one operative. They think we'll strike soon. Good, replied another. Let them exhaust themselves with fear. A man at the far end leaned forward, his face hidden in darkness. And Silent Dawn? A digital map shimmered into the air. Red dots blinked across it, marking every major world in the Council. Active, came the answer. Every shadow agent in position. Every trigger in place. Then it's time, the man said quietly. The galaxy needs a reminder. He placed a single data crystal on the table. It glowed faintly blue, inscribed with 2 words. Project Nemesis. Ariath Prime, 12 hours later. Emergency alarms blared across the station. Dozens of screens flashed red. Massive data intrusion. Unknown source. Shields failing, internal systems compromised. Ruvak stumbled into the chamber. What's happening? Every terminal. It's showing human script. The lights dimmed. Every screen in the room synchronized, displaying a single human emblem, black and silver, rotating slowly. Then, a calm voice spoke across the entire council network. You locked us out. You silenced our voice. You feared our strength. Now you will listen. The voice posed. We are humanity. We don't start wars. We end them. And then, static. Every screen went black. Outer Rim, hours later. Human fleets emerged from the shadows of dead systems, cloaked ships sliding silently into position. Engines glowed dim red as formation lines spread across the void. Admiral Tessa's voice echoed across encrypted channels. All units hold formation. The Council will send fleets. Let them. Silent Dawn has ended. Phase 2 begins. A pause. Engage Project Nemesis. The stars dimmed as human ships began to vanish from sensors, one by one, until the galaxy was left staring into empty space. And in that silence came dread. The humans had moved. And the galaxy had no idea where they were anymore. The Galactic Council headquarters had never been so quiet. Once the heart of order and control for hundreds of species, it now felt like a mausoleum. Flickering hollow banners cast pale light over exhausted officials. Entire sectors had gone dark, no signals, no fleets, no answers. Chancellor Ruvak sat slumped in his chair, his eyes bloodshot and trembling. He'd ordered the eradication of humanity centuries ago. He'd watched their worlds burn. He'd signed the decree himself. Yet now, every whisper from his aides carried the same impossible report: Council fleets disappearing. Planets unresponsive. Systems offline. Status, he croaked. A trembling aide stepped forward. Sir, our armadas have vanished. Entire fleets, gone without trace. Not destroyed. Just gone. Ruvak's breath came shallow. He tried to speak, but before he could, the lights dimmed. A low hum vibrated through the floor as every hollow screen in the chamber flickered to life. Incoming transmission, human origin. The hall erupted in panic. That's impossible! They're extinct! It's a trick! But then the static cleared, and a single figure appeared. Human. Tall. Face hidden beneath a dark steel visor. His voice was calm, steady, deliberate, and cold. Chancellor Ruvak. You buried us. You erased our history. You built empires on our ashes. We built something under them. The room fell silent. The human continued. You called it peace. We called it patience. Who are you? Ruvak managed to choke out. Project Nemesis, the figure said. The end of your illusion. The transmission ended. Every system in the chamber flickered, then died. Across the stars, a quiet storm began. On the human flagship Resolute Dawn, Admiral Tessa Oren stood before a massive holographic map, red dots representing the Council's entire military network. With a single command, she activated Nemesis. Encrypted data rippled across subspace, signals woven into frequencies the Council once believed untouchable. It wasn't a virus. It was something far worse. It was a reflection. Each Council ship's AI began mimicking human neural logic, looping its own orders, questioning commands, doubting authority. Systems froze. Weapons locked. Engines refused to ignite. Entire armadas drifted like lifeless carcasses through space. Commander Yates turned to Tessa. They're shutting down, across every system. Even their planetary grids. Tessa watched the chaos unfold with quiet resolve. No killing. No destruction. Just silence. Let them feel what it's like to be powerless. Yates swallowed hard. Admiral, this is the entire Galactic fleet. Tessa nodded. Then it's a fair trade. From the Council's capital to the farthest outer colonies, every alien fleet blinked out. Command centers went dark. Warships froze mid-orbit, engines whispering to a halt. Panic spread through the galaxy as power died and comms turned to static. In the confusion, one final message appeared on every monitor, written in every language known. You buried us under your fear. We became the silence between your stars. No threats. No demands. Just a truth that made entire civilizations shudder. Weeks later, deep beneath the Himalayas, the United Terran Assembly convened. Humanity's cities, hidden underground for generations, now pulsed with renewed light. The great domes of New Delhi, the Pacific Core, and Solnet HQ thrummed with energy as liberated colonies reconnected. Admiral Tessa Oren stood before the assembly podium. Her uniform bore no medals, only the insignia of Earth restored. Project Nemesis is complete, she said. No Council ships destroyed. No soldiers killed. The system collapsed under its own arrogance. The assembly president, a woman with silvered hair and steady eyes, leaned forward. And the galaxy? Tessa smiled faintly. Listening. For the first time in centuries, Earth's blue oceans reflected sunlight unfiltered by war. Let them rebuild, the president said softly. But they'll know who watches the stars now. Tessa turned toward the great panoramic window. Above the clouds, thousands of cloaked satellites drifted in silence, human eyes scattered across the galaxy. She whispered, They wanted to bury us. Instead, they taught us how to hide. Months passed. Empires fell quiet. The great fleets remained dead. In their place, trade routes reopened. Refugees returned home. And yet, every captain who sailed too close to a forbidden sector, every miner who looked too long into the void, claimed they saw something vast, silent, watching. A shadow moving between the stars. A whisper echoing through the static. You are free. Don't make us remind you why. And just like that, the signal would fade, leaving the emptiness of space behind. They thought they had erased humanity. But you can't erase a species that learned to turn silence into strength. From the ashes of extinction, Earth had risen, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as a quiet balance to chaos. And in every dark corner of the galaxy, one truth remained etched in fear and awe. Humanity doesn't vanish. It waits. Milky Way HFY closing note. They called us extinct. We called it a tactical retreat. They built an empire of control. We build patience into power. Now the galaxy lives because humanity decided to let it. Subscribe to the Void Narratives for more HFY stories, where silence, strategy, and the human spirit always return to remind the stars. We are the consequence you'll never predict.